Just crossed the border over into Scotland.
We're here at about 2:55, and they said the last entrance they can allow is at 2:30.
What's actually wrong with it?
Hey there, travelers. I'm Eliz from Means to Travel. My husband Derek and I are college sweethearts and share a passion for exploring the globe.
After so much change for us in 2020, we decided to take a giant leap and rent out our home in Chicago for some extended travel. This series chronicles our 3-month stay in the United Kingdom.
After documenting our strict 2-week quarantine in southern England, we set about exploring many of the wonders that this enchanting country has to offer.
During this time, we became official end-to-enders,
Met up with some cherished friends,
got our rental car towed twice,
and absolutely fell in love with this corner of the world. So come along as we explore the UK.
In the last episode, we explored the charming Lake District town of Keswick and the 5,000-year-old Castlereagh Stone Circle.
In this episode, we share part 1 of our 2-part journey to the Highlands. We crossed the border into Scotland right before the English lockdown began, and then, let's just say, a lot did not go to plan. What's up, travelers? It's Eliz.
And Derek.
From Means to Travel, and we've just left our Airbnb in Ambleside, and we are headed to Scotland today. So
Bye-bye, England. Hello, haggis.
Exactly, but we're making a quick stop in the town or city of Carlisle, right in the northern part of England, for a couple of errands that we need to run before heading to the Highlands.
Primarily, we need to top up some AdBlue, which, for those of you who aren't in the know about diesel cars,
we were totally not in the know. And we're running very low on this AdBlue thing.
So it is required, I guess, to start a diesel car. So we need to go get that started up so we're not stranded in the Highlands later.
Leave a comment below, by the way, if you knew about AdBlue or not.
So we're gonna go do that. We'll also need to buy a voucher at 3 so we can top up our mobile data plan. Obviously, once the country goes in lockdown, we can't do that, and we need to go do that now preventatively.
We specifically wanted to do that kind of as a preventative measure in case we are in a more rural area when our monthly data plan ends. We're doing all these things in Carlisle kind of just as, you know, safety measures, and then we are headed to southern Scotland where we're going to hopefully get there in time to visit the Armstrong Museum and then go to our bed and breakfast for the night and then head to the Highlands tomorrow. So come along with us today as we journey from England to Scotland. Let's go!
Alright guys, so when driving in the UK, one of the other things that you need to be aware of is that when you type in your route to a city, the sat-nav is going to look for the shortest route possible based on, you know, a number of parameters, and a lot of times it'll assume that you're going about the speed limit on these roads. And one of the things to think about is, you know, before you set off on your drive, looking at what the route looks like and if it actually is going to be the same time as what, you know, the sat-nav is telling you. Because a lot of times, like this road right now is 40 miles per hour, and I feel comfortable going around 40, but a lot of times it might be 60 on a very, very narrow road with a lot of bends and curves, and there's no way I would ever drive that fast. So you need to understand that before you set off, see if the timeline really makes sense. In addition, you want to know if you're actually comfortable with driving on these types of roads. So, you know, it might be, you know, technically, according to SatNav, longer to stay on the highway rather than take one of these back roads or smaller county type roads. But, you know, you have to know yourself and know if you're comfortable with that and whatnot. So at this point, we've driven through Cornwall, we've driven through Kent, we've driven through some pretty windy and crazy roads. So this isn't that bad for me. But, you know, if it's your first time to the UK, something like this might be a little more, you know, stressful, especially as it gets down to, you know, one lane here or there. Our first stop in Carlisle was the local car rental branch where this kind lady gave us a top up in AdBlue. Since the UK requires AdBlue in diesel cars to reduce air pollution, most have sensors that count down their AdBlue levels. If your mileage counter hits 0, the car will no longer start. After we topped up, she assured us that the AdBlue counter would then reset and we should have plenty of mileage for the rest of our trip, but more on that later.
After hurriedly finishing our errands in Carlisle, we got back on the road and passed this charming cyclist on our way towards the border. Alright, Alright, we're on the A7 passing over the River Esk. Just went through the town of Longtown, which is the last town in England before Scotland on the A7. I don't know if those windmills are in Scotland or in England. Almost here. So exciting. Hope there's a sign. Oh, there's a flag at least. Yay! Welcome to Scotland!
Dumfries and Galloway.
Woo, we did it!
Hey guys, we just crossed the border over into Scotland. We're driving on the A7 right now towards Gilnockie Tower. It's supposed to close like in 9 minutes, so I am not getting my hopes up. I'm pretty bummed about it, but our errands in Carlisle just took forever. I think it's because it was like the last day before lockdown, so there was just a lot of people at the shops, and where we stopped for lunch there was a long line. So I'm a little sad, but hopefully we can make it work. But otherwise, this is a beautiful drive. You can kind of see out the window over there. I mean, all the trees are orange and gold. So no matter what, we're gonna have a good afternoon, I think.
Let's just say I was beyond excited to have our first welcome into Scotland be on the land where my Clan Armstrong ancestors used to live. That said, as we started approaching the tower, we soon realized that there were 0 cars in the parking lot, so we assumed that was not a good sign and that the museum was likely not going to be open for us. We made it to the actual tower, but it definitely was too late, unfortunately. So here it is, Gilnockie Tower. It's open from 11 to 3, and we got here at about 2:55, and they said the last entrance they can allow is at 2:30. So we looked at the gift shop really fast, but other than that, I'm a little bit bummed because we definitely can't stay here until 11 tomorrow either to come. So we'll have to return at some point, maybe on our way back to England, but not sure. We'll see. All right. Time to move on to our B&B. See you guys soon. After leaving the museum at Gilnockie Tower to head to our B&B next, the sky was already getting towards sunset, even though it was only after 3 o'clock, because at this point we were pretty far north. It was around that time that we started to realize there was still something wrong with the AdBlue sensor in our car. Despite getting 5 more gallons put in, the gauge was still counting down to 0. Yikes! We ended up on the phone for hours once we checked in. Quick summary, we were passed around from Avis to roadside assistance to our rental car's manufacturer because we had a malfunctioning sensor and absolutely nobody knew what to do. By the end, we were told that if we kept driving, we all agreed that we'd be sure to get stranded in the next 45 miles. The problem? The nearest rental car was over 60 miles away, and we needed to get a new car in order to go anywhere else.
2 hours later.
All right, guys. So we are in Moffat. We're heading out to dinner at a place called the Black Bull Tavern Inn, something along those lines. And we're excited for it. I think they have some barbecue, even maybe some Memphis style. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, today's been a bit of a challenge. We found out that our cars got a sensor malfunction, was going to require us to be towed tomorrow morning from Moffat up to Glasgow Airport, where we're going to, I guess, trade in the car for a new one.
Which is over an hour away.
Yeah, so that's about an hour away, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but the good news is we get to do it tomorrow morning when we should be heading to the Highlands anyway, which takes us right past Glasgow. So we don't really lose a bunch of time, except for all the rigmarole that'll, you know, likely take place in the whole process. So at least it's on our way. All right, so we'll check in with some food, and then tomorrow we'll see what that brings us.
For a table under Zachariah. Pulled pork.
Barbecue in Scotland.
Okay, so Derek ordered half rack of ribs, right? We're whispering because it's very quiet in here.
But the pint is delicious.
Oh yeah. He got a local cask ale, and I got a French Sauvignon Blanc.
Are you ready for brekkie?
Yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, so we're at the Hartwell House in Moffat, Scotland, and we just got served our breakfast, and I wanted to show you because we were able to kind of like pick and choose. It wasn't just like you're getting the full Scottish breakfast. So I ended up getting less things than Derek did, and I'll show you what that means in a second. But I got bacon, mushrooms, and tomato, and a poached egg, and these little pieces of toast that come in these adorable holders. I love them. And then we have jam over here. I also got apple juice, and I was served grapefruit slices before the breakfast came out, which I opted for. And then we got our coffee because we need it. But Derek's got some cool extras on his plate, I'll tell you.
Yeah, really the only extra that I have is that I got the black pudding right here, which I don't know what's in it, but I'll look that up after I eat it. And I got my egg instead of poached fried.
Use your words. How does it taste?
It's really good. It's actually really good. Which is why I'm not going to look up what's in it until later. But there's some sort of grain. I want to say maybe blood is what makes it this dark color.
Yeah. What does it taste like, though?
It's very rich.
Yeah.
I don't...
Is it like savory?
Yeah, it's rich and savory.
Okay.
It's very good.
I'll zoom in again so you guys can see the grain.
Yeah, there's some sort of grain in here. But it's quite nice.
So there's been a lot going on. So yesterday we had some issues with the car where we found out that we had a faulty sensor, and today we have a truck coming to pick us up. Here from our tow truck to come pick us up here in Moffat, Scotland, and take us to the nearest Avis, which unfortunately is like an hour away from here. Luckily it's in the direction we're going. So we're going to be heading up to the Avis and getting a new car. Hopefully it'll still be an automatic. They told us last night after we talked to probably 15 different people that, you know, yes, they do have automatics and whatnot. I guess with the pandemic and everything going on with local restrictions, a number of rentals have been canceled, so they have a lot of cars on the lot right now.
Plethora of automatics for us Americans to choose from.
You know, things happen and you got to roll with the punches a little bit.
Yeah, yesterday was a pretty crazy travel day that we just kind of had to react to as best as we could and solve the issues that came up. And that's kind of the stuff that happens when you travel sometimes. So today we've got everything in place to make it all work out and get to Fort William in the Highlands.
Yeah.
So come along with us today as we ride in a Scottish tow truck. Let's go! Here's our tow truck and our faulty sensor car. We named our car Olaf because it's big and white, and I don't know what the new car's name is going to be or color or anything like that. So you guys will just have to see what we get along with us.
How are you?
What's actually wrong with it?
Our little buddy Olaf is getting towed. Man, oh man, we put some dirt on those tires, didn't we? Luckily the car still starts right now. There's 45 miles till it's not supposed to start anymore. So we can drive it onto the tow truck, and he's gonna drop us off at the car park outside of the rental car place. So that way we can drive it into the rental car place without it having to be towed right in. I've actually never had my car towed before, luckily. I know that is a very lucky thing to be able to say. And so this is a new experience for me. Derek's been in a tow truck only once before, he was telling me at breakfast. I feel like this is kind of like putting a cone on a dog. It's like so sad to watch the car do this. You know what's funny is that at breakfast, because I've never done this before, I was like asking Derek, you know, would it be okay if we just stayed in the car while he towed us so we could socially distance? And Derek's like, absolutely not. That would be so unsafe. And I was like, oh, okay. And now I totally see, I totally see why. That would be like, I'm like embarrassed that I asked that question.
All right, so one of the things that we learned about Moffat and kind of what its claim to fame was back in the Victorian era was a sulfuric well that people would like drink from and maybe bathe in as a health remedy. And that's why a lot of these houses were built. This one in particular was built for a Victorian doctor and his family. And back in the 70s, 1970s, it was turned into a guest house. So ever since the 70s, I think 1971 she said, it's been welcoming visitors to Moffat, and it's been great. But it's time for us to go because we have our tow truck and we got to get to our Avis destination. Let's go.
Okay, he assured us that there was like a screen protector in here protecting us, which is 100% true. So that's really nice to see. Here we go. My first time riding in a tow truck. Lucky me. And we're off.
My second time.
So we had to pull to the side of the road, right outside of the car park. Yeah, thank God it's not raining. That's totally true, babe. So we had to pull to the side of the road outside the car park. Then Derek and I have to drive the car into the car park. It should work still. And then we're gonna have to switch out the car. So it's gonna be a little bit more work. And then finally, we can head straight up to the Highlands.
These lines are crazy.
The word is few.
There were absolutely no customers in the rental car area when we arrived, and once we got to the Avis desk, even though the company knew we were going to be towed there that morning, there was no person on duty, so we had to call the manager's cell phone to come meet us.
20 minutes later.
Once he arrived, he walked us to the lot and gave us the keys to a new car. It was the same model as our last one, just a different color.
All right, guys, so we got a nice little red cherry, a C5.
A tomato, if you will.
To replace the white one. So hopefully this one doesn't have a malfunction. And we'll see us through to the Highlands. So super excited.
Look at how dirty this car got. Whoops, sorry, Olaf.
The keys to this?
Yeah,
Where are the keys? I don't have them.
I thought he did.
All right, so in a bit of a comedy of errors today, we are here, we have the new car, we've got the keys for it, we're ready to pack it up, and our car's locked with all of our stuff in it. So we're waiting for the guy to come back so he can open it and we can get our stuff and get going. Hopefully that happens soon, but we shall see.
20 minutes later.
It's crazy to say, but this wasn't the end of our weird luck heading to the Highlands. Be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell to catch part 2 of this journey. I plan to release it for you wonderful travelers next week. Hey travelers, don't forget to subscribe, and let's hang out more. Here are some links to other helpful travel videos on my channel, and press that notification bell so you don't miss any new and awesome travel videos to come.